Well, perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to your webinar today, How Studying Design Will Benefit You and Your Career at University. My name is Karen Botero, and once again, I will be hosting this webinar representing Viva-Mundo. So today, we're going to have a virtual masterclass with Mr. Edgar Gonzalez. He is the academic director of the Bachelor Design at AE University, and we hope you all enjoyed this presentation. Of course, if you have any questions, please drop them in the bottom of the screen here in the Q&A box, and we will go back to them at the end of the presentation. So thank you very much for joining us today. We are so happy to have you here. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. And first, I would like to give the floor to Alicia, a representative of IE University, who wants to give us a quick introduction about the university. So Alicia, welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session that we have prepared for you today. How studying design will benefit you and your career at a university. I'm Alicia Milan. I'm one of the associate director who represent a university in Latin America. So as Karen mentioned from Viva-Mundo, we are going today to give you a quick introduction about IE University, and then we will have actually the honor to have the director of the Bachelor in Design at IE University who will give us a master class. All right, so just to give you a quick introduction about IE University, IE University is located in Spain. We have a campus in Segovia and a campus in Madrid. Segovia and Madrid are pretty close to each other, actually. It's like 25 minutes by fast train and 1 hour and 15 minutes to give you an idea distance by car. So Segovia actually is more what we call kind of a historical campus. The building is from the 13th century. And it's kind of the perfect mix, I will say, between the historical part of the building, but also the kind of the modern side of the kind of the facilities. So here, for example, you have a picture of our Fab Lab. Here you can see some of our students working on their project, a student from the Bachelor in Architecture study and also the Bachelor in Design. And here you can see also a picture of the aqueduct, one of the most important monuments in Segovia city. And then we have the other campus, the one in Madrid, a more kind of urban campus in the city, really dynamic city of Madrid. Here you can see some of our facilities, really modern facilities. And I want also to share with you the news that we are opening our new campus in Madrid called the IE Tower, which actually will be open in September. Is a vertical campus. Is the fifth tallest actually building in Madrid. It will be 140 meters high, and we combine all kind of the value about IE University, what we call, for example, sustainability, innovation and technology, the entrepreneurial part, and of course here you're going to have a lot of design related part in this building also. So that's also Edgar will focus later on in the master class. I'm going to talk about also a bit about the degree that we offer at IE University. To give you a quick idea also, all our degrees are official, recognized by the Ministry of Education of Spain, that's pretty important, and also recognized by different organizations and accreditation that actually guarantee the quality of the different degrees. So here you can see some of our accreditation and recognition. The degree we offer at IE University are entirely taught in English. So that's pretty important also to highlight. Even if we are located in Spain, all the degree we offer are in English. And they are a 4 years long degree. The only one that actually is 5 years long is the Bachelor in Architectural Study. For example, the Bachelor in Design is 4 years long degree. And also you can combine some of our bachelors. Actually, you can do a dual degree. So for example, with design, you can combine it with the Bachelor in Business Administration. So instead of doing the Bachelor in Design 4 years and then the Bachelor in Business Administration 4 years, you can do it in 5 years instead of 8 years, and you will graduate actually with the 2 diploma. So that's also pretty interesting. Of course, if you're interested in different area, that kind of combination could be a great opportunity for you. And regarding our students, right now we have around 4,100 students at an undergraduate level. I'm not including our master students in this number. We kind of have a balance, I would say gender balance regarding our community, 55% women and 45% men. And we are really international university. So that why also all our degree are entirely taught in English. More than 130 different nationality are on campus. Students are coming from really different educational system. 75% of them are non-Spanish. And we have more than 45 different languages spoken on campus. And what actually make different our student and what we are looking for future students. Actually, our students are passionate. They're passionate about what they are studying, passionate about what they are like creating. They're really passionate. Disruptors, they're really thinking like outside of the box. And that's something also key, for example, related to design. Our students find solution where sometimes people think they don't have right solution, or they're really kind of think different, let's say. And leaders, we have students that really want to make a new kind of positive impact in our society. And then international, they really have an international vision, international mindset. And the last part that I want to mention before we're gonna start with the masterclass, I want to mention our admission process. Our admission process is 100% online. So that's pretty important to mention. And we have a rolling admission process. So we don't have a specific deadline to apply to our degrees, but actually we recommend you to apply the earlier the better, let's say, because then you will have a lot of options related to, for example, scholarship. And also it's important to be aware that we have limited space in each of our degree. So that's also important to think about that when you are applying. All our degrees start in September, the academic year. So think about that also when you are applying. And the different steps of the process are the following one. First, you need to fill in an online application where we're going to ask you for personal information, academic information, non-academic information, then an admission test, an online assessment, and the last step will be a personal interview. And then you will receive the final decision, admission or non-admission. So that's basically, it's kind of summarizing the entire admission process in order to apply to our university. It's the same for all our degree. And for the Bachelor in Architectural Studies, we will ask for a portfolio, and for the Bachelor in Design, and that maybe Edgar can mention that later on, we will ask also for kind of a creative work during the application. So that's kind of the specificity of our admission process. Of course, if you have any question, you can write it down in the chat box, and then we will answer your question. And now, actually, I'm going to leave the floor, virtual one, to Edgar Gonzalez, our director of the Bachelor in Design at IE University, which actually is an expert. He has a consultant agency, right? Design agency, sorry. And also is an editor-in-chief of edgargonzalez.com. So please check it if you are interested on those areas, because I think it could be really useful for you to look at it. So Edgar, I'm leaving the virtual floor for you. So I'm going to stop maybe sharing so you can share your presentation.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alicia. And thank you very much, Karen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. Share screen, and I'm going to share it now. So you should be able to see it right now, right? Excellent. As Alicia mentioned, my name is Edgar Gonzalez. I'm a Mexican trained architect, but designer by heart. You know, since a very, very early age, I've been practicing design. And right now I'm running a design, and I run the Bachelor in Design program here at IE, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, and probably answer any questions you might have about the program. But right now, let's talk about, just before talking about design, the program itself, let's talk about why design matters. Yeah, I'm going to jump this because I recommend you to, if you're watching this, to go full screen, you know, with this little icon, you can go full screen because this is a very, very graphic oriented presentation. And I think you will enjoy it because it has a lot of high resolution, very interesting, very attractive images. So for you to enjoy, go full screen. So why design matters? Why? Yes, design, let's start from the beginning. Yeah, let's start thinking about what is design. You know, what you have in mind about design. What you think about when you think about design is what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Could be probably, you know, this idea of design. You know, many people relate design to fashion design, no? Which is a kind of design, of course. Yes, this is a bit probably to 90s for you, but you will relate to these images, no? Some other could be as well interior design. You know, it's like because the name has on it interior design. It could be an idea of as well of what you think when you think about design. But it could go beyond that, because designing, actually, when you design a house, even though it's the work of an architect, the process is a design process, no? Or when you design a product as well. You know, when you design a product, you actually start visualizing and thinking about what you're going to create on that product in that case, no? But design goes beyond that. You know, we have this idea of this very close relationship with design within probably what is called graphic design. Yes, I'm pretty sure you're aware of all these companies, all these logos, and the importance and the relevance of having a good logo, no? You will see that more and more in this case, for example, you will see how a very successful logo doesn't even need a name, no? Like, it's like, for example, if you see the logo at the center of this screen, automatically you can tell me the company that it features, no? As well with the green one on top, or the black one on the right, or the yellow one just below that one, or the multicolor one in the corner on the top left. So this is graphic design, no? This is I love this logo because this is the logo for it was the perfect logo, no? It's like the perfect opportunity for the perfect logo. This designer had to design the logo for the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020. He has the perfect opportunity because he visualized this idea of, oh yes, the Olympic rings can actually make this perfect logo, and then the Olympic Games get moved on to the next year, no? And then to the next one. So wasted opportunity. But graphic design is not only about graphics, no? What about when was the last time that you were into an airport or a train station and you need to go to the toilet? And this is where design really gets interesting, because design is not only about, you know, choosing some fancy colors or selecting the best material or doing some perfect circles, but design goes beyond this, no? And this is where design really gets interesting. Last time that you went to a train station or an airport and you actually needed to go to the toilet and you find your way to the toilet easily, there was a designer behind this, no? This goes beyond just the graphic part of it, because designer has to do a lot with people, with how people work, how people understand, and how people process information. Because most of the time that what we do, we are working with people, you know. So it's very important for us to understand, you know, the processes behind the persons, no? And we will talk about the program a little bit later. But this is, remember that station or that airport where you find your way automatically? You know, it's very easy to get lost in an airport, no? But remember, there is this airport, which is very nice and very easy to find your door to board your plane. That is good design, yes? As well, for example, one of the masterpieces of visualization design is this one. You know, this is a little piece, a little cutout of the metro map in London, in this case, no? As you might know, this map doesn't represent geographically correct all the locations. If you have been in London, you know that, for example, the distance between Leicester Square and Covent Garden is just really just some meters away. You can see the station from one other, no? But in this case, you know, they modified the graphic representation of the actual cartography to make it easier to read. Yes, as you can see, all the lines are straight lines and only 45 degrees angle. You can see the lines drawn, no? And this was made just for the sake of clarity, because when you are actually looking for the station that you want to go, you don't really care about if it's really close or very long, or what you need to know is like how many stations is that station that you want to go, no? If you want to go from Leicester Square to Russell Square, you know that there are 3 stations, no? So it's like, okay, the next one is my station. I have to go out of the train. In this case, it's, the design is very important, but the actual accuracy, geographic accuracy, is not that relevant, no? And I found this extremely interesting. Talking about, you know, getting directions and finding your way, I love this idea of the graphic design, how graphic design can help you as well. This is actually the map of Epcot Center in Miami, in Orlando, Miami, in Orlando, Florida. And this is, as you can see, you know, the choice of colors is very interesting, because the choice of colors here, I don't know if you can see the remembrances, but the choice of colors relates to the actual Mickey Mouse. You could see the yellow, the red, the purple. They couldn't get away with the purple because the black, they wanted to paint the background black, but it was too dark. So they actually switched it to purple, no? But you could see this reminder of the logo, the white, the red, the yellow, and the black of the original Mickey Mouse, no? So this is very interesting when you start building relationships between how to get there and actually icons of design. Or when was the last time that you used your Apple Watch to make a run, no? Or to keep track of how many kilometers have you run? This is very interesting, no? Because you have to design for a 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter inch screen. So you have to make sure that only the information that you need there is there, no? In this case, they use the green, this green, which is my favorite, as you can see. This green, which is called vector green, no? So the contrast here is amazing, no? Because you use the black and the green, and actually matches my outfit. But the black and the green gives you this contrast, this huge contrast, which is very useful because when you're running and you have this tiny screen, you want to make sure that you're able to read the important information, no? Of course, design is related as well to this thing that you have my heard of, which is design thinking, no? The design thinking was this is a joke, so I hate this kind of things when I don't see the faces of the audience, because I don't know if my jokes make sense or not. So I'm taking Alicia as a cobaya here, no? So I have this theory that design thinking was invented by 3M, you know, the owner of Post-its company. I'm not a big fan of design thinking. So yes, we talk about all this kind of design, yeah. But why design is important, and which design to choose? Why our program is called just design? It doesn't have a surname. It's not graphic design. It's not interior design. It's because of my shoes. These are my shoes. You cannot see them because, you know, I'm not. You cannot see my shoes right now, but these are my shoes. And I love my shoes because I'm a huge fan of Nike. But if you can think of my shoes, if you look at my shoes, can you tell me which color my shoes are? Of course, you cannot tell me because you're not interacting with me. But it's very difficult to say which color these shoes are, no? Because some people will say pink, some people will say purple, some people will say orange, but it's none of these colors actually. The interesting part is that, like my shoes, the practice of design today is not compartmentalized. Yes, it's very difficult to define the boundaries today between graphic design and interior design and product design, because more and more the practice of design is blurring these frontiers, and more you could see, like, for example, when you design a map, you know, who designs a map? Is a graphic designer or is an interior designer, or the señalética, you know, the wayfinding in an airport. Who does that? Interior designer, graphic designer, or a product designer? Because you can actually have to design the arrows, no? So it's the frontiers of design is blurring between those, no? So that's the relationship, like my shoes, no? My shoes are not one single color, but this blur or mixture of colors which make them so interesting and so attractive, at least to me. I love my shoes. So design is not only about choosing colors, no, because design is really this architectural blueprint or a brochure or a signal system in an airport or a chair or a car is actually solving a problem. Design has to solve a problem, right? Because this is very important, you know, that's the difference between design and art. Art doesn't have to solve a problem, no? But design has to solve a problem. So doesn't matter how beautiful your chair is, if you cannot sit in your chair, that is not design, right? Because design has to function and has to follow, have to solve a problem, right? This is very important for you to understand. No? I'm gonna stop a little bit on this concept, because the problems we're facing today in the world that we're living, more and more are, in the past, these kind of problems were very simple, very novel, and very independent. Alicia, can you take a look at the chat, and maybe if there are some questions, or you let me know. You can interrupt me anytime.
Yeah. Actually, I'm answering some questions because some of them are related to more like the process and that kind of thing, and I'm leaving some of the question for the end, maybe of the presentation. Perfect. That you will answer. Actually,
right? No, because I was seeing the icon and I was getting nervous, but
I'm managing. No worry.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Perfect. So in the past, the problems we were facing were simple, quite novel, and quite independent. You know, it was very, very simple. But in the world that we live today, you know, the world that we live today is very complex. It's very complex. It's very fuzzy. Sometimes it's very difficult to really understand what is the problem that we're facing. Yeah. And the problems we're facing are very interdependent. So all this is very key to understand why our program is a generalistic program, which is transversal to all the ways of designing, because what you're gonna learn in this practice, in this program, is exactly that, you know, how to confront these complex, fuzzy, and interdependent problems that we are facing today, and we're gonna be facing in the future. Because what I love about design is like, design is about the future, right? Because it doesn't make sense to design something that already exists. So every single time you're designing something, you're thinking in the future. You're thinking in something that doesn't exist. Yeah. So this is very, very important. No? Design is the more future forward profession out there, because we're always working in the future. No? I just want to give a little bit of disclosure here. I don't work, we're going to be mentioning a lot of companies right now in the process of the presentation, because on this second part of the presentation, I'm going to present you with some examples of what I call extreme design, you know, design that goes beyond what is expected, or maybe what do you have in mind, what design is, no? Because if I show you, like I showed you before, no? If I show you a logo or a dress or an interior, it's quite easy because you're used to that, no? But I'm going to show you some examples of what I think is excellent design. It's very good design, but goes beyond the traditional conception of what design is. I don't work for any of these companies, or I don't have any relationship with these companies. No? So design, as I was telling you, is about solving problems, right? Problems of all kinds, you know? Of course, designing a logo is a problem, but have you heard about landmines? Yes. Oops. Oh, I think I have a problem with this. No, it's black. No, the images are not showing.
We are right now. We are not. We are just no. It's not. It's kind of gray. We're not seeing
Yes.
the slide.
Okay, I'm gonna jump this because there's a problem with this. I don't know what happened with this example. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna just jump this and go to the next one. No? The next one we're gonna talk about this company called Lyft. Lyft, right? Many of you, maybe this is a very North American center company, but basically it's like Uber. It's very like Uber, no? Lyft actually is a company that didn't invent anything, you know, because Lyft actually what they did, taxis existed before, internet economy existed before, you know, have you heard about eBay, no? So you can buy things on the internet on your phone directly, and taxis existed. What Lyft did is they mixed these two together to get into a service which today is very easy to understand, but when Lyft started, it was quite complicated. No, it's like, okay, you can hire a taxi, to pick you up from one point and drop you on in another point. Yes, which is what Uber does. No, so how do I know? And the power of this system is that it's not a taxi, but it's actually a person that has a car and wants to offer this service to another person. That's the origin of Uber and Lyft as well. No? So if there are many cars in my city, how can I know which one is my Lyft? It's a bit difficult, no? Yes, they put you the plate, the license plate, but you have to be looking at the license plate, and maybe after they put you the color of the car, so you can be looking. Oh, so every white car that passes by, you're checking if that is your Uber, no, or your Lyft in this case. So Lyft wanted to solve this problem, no. So at the beginning, they come up with this idea because the logo of Lyft is pink, and they wanted to distinguish their cars. They come up with this idea. It's like, okay, why don't we make this very big pink mustache, so the Lyft drivers can put it in their car, so people can recognize the Lyft cars, no? So it worked more or less at the beginning because it was super cheesy, of course, and was very tacky, and people didn't relate very much to this, no? So this is very important because this is a part of the process of design is the iteration. Yeah, iteration is you come up with a solution and you start evolving and polishing and making it better, no? So the second version of the Ampere is called Ampere, no? The second version, they evolve it and they make it this. So this little thing, you put it on your dashboard of your car. So actually, for example, at night, it turns on and you can actually see it and distinguish your car, no? So it's not very this obtrusive, huge pink mustache in the middle of your car, but you can turn it on and off, and it works like that, no? So it was very, very interesting because this last 50 feet is exactly where the difference between service lies, no? Is the pain point, which is called in design, no? The pain point is where the experience becomes frustrating or the experience becomes super cool. Yeah. So they keep on working on this because, I mean, the pink mustache was the electronic pink mustache was okay, but was still, you know, a bit tacky and they didn't like it very much. So they came up with the second version of the Ampere, you know, and this is the second version of the Ampere, which is because technology was evolving. So actually they managed to put a color screen on this, so it could change the color of the screen. And actually on the back of the Ampere that is put on the dashboard of the car, you could put these little LEDs at the back. And actually, I don't know if this has happened to you. This has happened to me more than once. You know that you are outside of the discoteca, you're getting out, you ask for an Uber or a Lyft, and then some Uber arrives and you get in, and halfway through you discover it's like, oh, this is not mine, no? It's like, John, are you John? And it's like, no, I'm not, I'm Edgar, you know? And it has happened to me many times. No? So actually this, the back of the screen covers this. So when you enter your Lyft, it greets you and tells you, hello, John. Hi, John. So you're sure that your Lyft is yours, actually, no? So another interesting thing about this new version of the Lyft is this idea that when you call up your car, automatically it designates a color for you. So actually the Lyft becomes this color, because picture this idea of outside of the discoteca, you have many Lyfts coming in the way. So how do you know which one is yours? It's yours, And actually you get assigned a color. So when the car is approaching, you can look just for a yellow one in this case. And the application becomes actually yellow, which is really cool, because when the car is approaching you, you can wave the car with your phone, and the car is gonna see you that you are the yellow one. So he goes to you and picks you up. So this is Lyft. This is the amp of Lyft. Could you hear the sound of the video, Alicia? Perfect. Yes, this is the Lyft amp, no? But another interesting thing, why I'm so interested in Lyft is because recently, a couple of months ago, Lyft, the company, decided that design is so important for the company that they actually hired, the C-board. What the C-board is. The C-board is the chief officers of the company. Is the person that are around, that organize the company. A company is run by the CEO, which is the chief executive officer, but usually it has around 8 to 10 people running the company. And actually what they did, Lyft, they hire 5 designers to set up their C-suite. They call it the C-suite. So out of the 8 people running the company, 5 people are designers sitting at the decision-making table, which is very, very important. This is a very interesting because this opens up, what designers today are doing. Designers are not only drawing things, but actually designers more and more are running companies because of the way they have of thinking about problems and the way they are practicing the day-to-day operations. No? So this is Lyft. I'm going to talk to you now. Another example is this part of the talk. As I told you, is like small capsules of very good design. No? This exercise is called Copenhagen. Copenhagen, I don't know if you know, but the waste management, when you eat a chocolate or a candy bar or a banana and you throw away the peel into the garbage can, have you wondered what happened after you do that? You eat the banana, you put it on the can, and you forget about it, no? You don't want to know anything more about this. Yes? Well, there are many things happening after you throw a banana or a box where you got on your Amazon, whatever you bought today in Amazon. You get a box and you put that box in the bin and you forget about it. No? This is waste, and we produce a lot. Especially in the Western world, we produce a lot of waste. And what happens to waste is a big problem. It's really, really a big problem for cities and for countries. No, so many countries, what they do is what they do is this burning. So basically, it's like a factory where they bring all the garbage, they separate it, like metals, they put it on one side, and all the organic, they put it on the other side. But all the majority of the waste go to this burning. So basically, what they do, they burn it, and they use the heat of this burning. They use the heat to produce electricity. Yes. So basically, they look like this. They're usually very horrible. They are like very smelly, very horrible, and very boring usually. No? So in 2011, there was in Copenhagen, Copenhagen in Denmark, organized a competition to build the biggest waste management factory. Well, it's not a factory, but the waste management plant. Sorry, it's a plant. Waste management plant. They organized a company to build the biggest waste management plant in Denmark. And they hired some architects. It was a competition, so they called up a couple of architects to come up with solutions. No? And among one of these architects, it was this architect called Bjarke Ingels. I don't know if you know him. If you don't know him, you should write his name now. Bjarke with a J. It's Danish. So Bjarke Ingels. So he came up with this idea. He's like, okay, we need to design a waste management plant, which is like probably one of the boringest buildings in the world. But he had an idea. He's like, okay, why they are so boring? No? Because this waste management plant was going to be very, very close to the center of the city of Copenhagen. You know, Copenhagen is the capital of Denmark. And since it was going to be quite close to the city, he decided, it's like, okay, why don't we do something creative with this? No, it's like, okay, well, this is more or less the volume. It's a huge building. It's very, very big. So basically what they did is like, okay, why don't we organize the program, you know, the big volume that this is going to create is almost as big as a mountain. And, you know, in Denmark, they have a lot of snow, but they have no mountains. In Denmark, there are no mountains. And Danes like to ski, but they have to go to Norway when they want to ski. No? So he was thinking, it's like, okay, if we're going to invest a lot of money, because I don't remember exactly how much money, it's like 3 billion euros, this waste plant costed. And he was thinking, it's like, if we're going to design this building that is going to cost a lot of money to a lot of people, why cannot make a building that people can use it? No? So it's like, Danes like mountains, and this building is as big as a mountain. So it's like, why don't we make this building? We organize all the facilities in the shape of a mountain, and we cover it with this kind of skiing slope that we can use as a mountain. No? So we have this kind of a park. In summer is a park, and in winter is a mountain. No? So basically, they built the waste management plant at the bottom with all the machinery and all the boring part there. You can see in these pictures, you know, what it looks like. But on the top of the building, because they organized, you know, the machines, the smallest one to the biggest one, they had this slope. They have to have it covered. So basically, they organized this cover. But this cover, they organized and they made this park, which is amazing, an amazing park. No? So basically, this is you could see, this is the city. So it's very, very close to the city. So you can actually see that now the waste management plant, it became a park that is a public park that anybody can use. Anybody can come and climb the park because there are some gardens there, and they can use it for skiing, even in summer. Because what they did, they used this special kind of it's a kind of a plastic that is very slippery, so you can use it for skiing even in summer. No, so this is right now is one of the biggest attractions, and they plant a lot of plants. No, so this is one of the biggest attractions right now in Denmark. Right now, you could see it there. So this is a very creative. Because imagine the wasted opportunity that this plant was going to be if it was just going to be another waste management plant. No? So creativity here, with the same amount of money, creativity thinking, and this kind of let's go beyond what is expected from a designer can be done. No? So the plant produces processes 400,000 tons of waste every year, and it produces electricity for 150,000 homes every year, no? Which is extremely good. No? So they use the waste management to produce heat, and with this heat, they produce electricity. But not on top of that, they have a mountain, so Danes in Copenhagen can use it as a public park. No, so that is creativity. That is what a designer is doing today. It's not only solving problems, but solving problems with a twist, right? With something, adding something else. I'm going to talk to you about bubble now. As you might know, because your generation is very aware of this, you know, we are destroying the environment. The environment that we live in is very being destroyed by this thing that we were talking about before, you know, waste. And specifically, a part of the waste, which is very, very bad, is plastic, right? Every year, 480 billion with a B, plastic bottles were produced every year. We produce more than 480 billion plastic bottles of all sizes, you know, the small one, the big one, Coca-Cola, juice, whatever, you know, water, whatever, you know. And every single bottle of this, it takes 450 years to decompose in the environment. 450 years to decompose. That's a lot of time. Yeah. So can you imagine every year, 480 billion bottles, we are throwing it into the garbage can. What is happening? This is exactly this. No? This is an island. In this case, this is in the Maldives. You know, in the oceans, because at the end, these bottles end up in the ocean, most of them. And in the ocean, you know, the currents move them. But right now we're facing this problem. I don't know if you heard about 2 years ago. There is an island in the Pacific of plastic floating in the Pacific, the size of France. The size of France is this island, no? In this case, this is a smaller one, which is in the Maldives, no? And this is how it looks like. Which is terrible, no? Imagine how much plastic we are reproducing, no? And every time, because of course you need to keep hydrated. You need to drink your water, yes? But next time you open a bottle of water, I invite you to think about what is going to happen with that bottle, yeah? Because that was the problem that this startup company wanted to, I mean, not to solve, because it's very difficult to solve this problem, but they wanted to help to solve this problem, no? And they say, well, you know, in most of the Western countries, you can actually drink water from the tap. You know that, no? In I don't know exactly which countries are you, but in many countries, in big cities, you can drink water directly from the tap, no? But, you know, to make water drinkable, they introduce ozone and chloride to kill the bacteria and to make it able to be drinkable by humans. And sometimes this leaves a taste which is slightly funny, no? So many people don't like the taste of the tap water. So they actually started thinking, it's like, okay, why don't we fix this tap water problem with something like this? So basically, they call this designer, this product designer called Karim Rashid. He's from Egypt, but he works in New York. And he came up with this idea, no? It's like, he said, hey, guys, listen, why don't we put a filter inside the bottle? So this is an active carbon filter, which is part of the actual bottle. So actually, every single time that you're drinking water, you're drinking purified water because of this little carbon fiber, active carbon filter inside the bottle. And they come up with this idea, no? Which I think is amazing. They make it in a lot of colors. And it's very interesting, you know, to understand that in this way, you can actually, because this carbon fiber, active carbon filter lasts for the equivalent of 300 bottles. Imagine if you put 300 bottles of water all together. Imagine, yeah, it's not solving the problem, but imagine if you put 300 bottles of water and you can change and replace this filter, you know, because it's very cheap, because it's just carbon, you can replace it. And every single time you're drinking from a bottle, and I invite you to think about and use less plastic bottles, you know, get actually one of the gifts we give at IE, and this is because I was very fond on this idea. When you come to IE, when you enroll IE, the first thing that we give you is a bottle of, in this case, it's a metal one. It's a metal one that lasts very long as well, of plastic, you know, so we can use less plastic because it's very important, you know. It's sustainability is something very, very important that we all have to work with. The next two examples of design is something that is called inclusive design. Yes, inclusive design talks about including persons with special necessities when we are designing. Yes, special necessities is not only like, for example, this example that you see here. This is a company that makes artificial limbs, you know, like feet and calves and feet and legs, but they are personalized, no? Because they are usually very horrible. You look like a pirate, you know, with this stick coming out of your leg. So basically what they do is like, okay, we don't have to be ashamed of, you know, not having a leg, for example, for an accident or something. But inclusive design is not only about for these kind of unfortunate people that had an accident, because if you think about, and I want you to think about what special conditions you have, for example, in touch, no? Let's say, for example, you got your arm, you have a car accident and you lose one arm, no? That's very unfortunate, and you don't have an arm for the rest of your life. That is permanent, of course. But you have some temporary injuries that can allow you, for example, when you fall from the bicycle and you break an arm, you don't have an arm for 3 months, no, because you have your gypsum put, and you don't have an arm for 3 months, no. Or for example, when you're carrying a baby, no, if you're taking the bus but you're carrying a baby, you don't have one arm because that arm is doing something else, no? That's, you're carrying a baby in this case, no. And these are some other examples, no, like for example, if you happen to be blind, but that's permanent. But if you have cataracts, you know, you cannot see properly until you get them fixed. Or if you're looking away or you're playing with your phone while you're driving, you're actually technically blind, right? So this is the kind of problems, and of course the rest one you can see. These are the kind of problems of what inclusive designs try to solve. Yes, and I'm going to give you an example, a very interesting example of a company that actually was very successful with inclusive design for many reasons. No, OXXO is a company founded very recently in 1990 by Sam Faber. Is an inventor, American inventor, that one day he was noticing his wife. His wife had arthritis. You know, arthritis doesn't allow you, depending on how bad you are, but you cannot close your hand very well, you know, because the ligaments in your bones get damaged over the time. So he was watching his wife. He was have arthritis. She was peeling some potatoes or some carrots with the, you know, remember the peeler, no? This is Sam and his wife. This kind of peeler, no? You have one of these at home for sure. So he was seeing his wife that she couldn't peel it properly because she couldn't close her hand properly because it was too thin, right? Because this is almost like a pencil. It's so thin that she was having difficulty, and she was getting injured a little, you know, like, oh, I cut myself. And he was like, okay, we need to solve this problem, no? Because he was a designer, and we designers, we are looking for problems every single time. So he started doing prototypes, you know, we as designers, we love doing prototypes to experiment and to see what's happening. No? So he was like, okay, why don't we do a pillar that is actually thicker, so it's easier to hold for a person that has arthritis. At the beginning, he was thinking about his wife, no? Like, okay, well, how can we do it? And he started making models and trying and testing, and then he came to these final prototypes where he discovered, I don't know if you have a bicycle like this, like in the handles of the bicycle, have these little tiny arcs of plastic. So it's very comfortable to hold the bike, no? And actually when it rains, it's not slippery, because when it rains, the water goes in and you can actually hold your bike and it doesn't slip, no? So he was looking at the bicycle and he's like, okay, why don't we put this kind of little rings around the edges so the thing is not slippery, no? When you're actually using the pillar, it's not slippery anymore, no? So he came up with this. This is the final product. It's very thick, as you can see, because so it's very easy to grab from people with arthritis. It's very easy to grab, and because it has these little fins or rings of this, probably you can see it better here. It has these little rings. It's not very slippery at all. So it's actually very safe to use. And he started selling this in his company, and it became a success, no? A huge success, because at the beginning he thought that the only people interested in this was going to be people with arthritis or with disabilities about using the product. But actually, this happens to be super comfortable to use because it doesn't slip. Doesn't matter, because probably maybe you're not disabled and you don't have arthritis and you can close your hand, but maybe you have your hands wet, you can slip and you can cut yourself. So this became a huge success, no? Because of this, the use is very easy to use, it's very safe, and it's an amazing product, no? So actually, the company was built around this. So yes, oops. Sorry, this is the video again, no? So actually, it became so successful that he managed to win so much money that he keep on doing products, solving different problems in a very intuitive and in a very creative way, no? Maybe you have seen this other article, which is for babies, no? He noticed that babies, when they're learning how to drink from the tap, it's very difficult for them to hold a glass which is that big, no? So he invented this other product that actually has these little two little handles according to the baby's size of the hands, no? So they can learn how to drink. And this is the perfect example of how good design is good business, no? Because you can buy this. It's actually quite cheap, you know. It's like €9. You can buy it in Amazon. And in Amazon, actually, it's a super top rated product, as you can see here. You know, it's 4.7 out of 5. Not many products in Amazon have this rating, no? It's super popular. And it became so successful and so good design that actually this pillar is included in the collection of the Museum of Modern Art in New York as one of the examples of the best designs in the world. And we're about to finish. How are we doing in time? Yes, we're about to finish. This is the last one. This is one of my favorite one as well. It's about, of course, Nike. I love Nike because I want to tell you, you know, the mission of Nike. I love the mission of Nike. No, the mission is bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And they put an asterisk, no? And the asterisk is like saying that if you have a body, you are an athlete, no? Doesn't matter if you're fat, doesn't matter if you are young, doesn't matter if you're old, doesn't matter. If you have a body, for us, you're an athlete, no? We want to help you. So Matthew Walzer is one of the designers of Nike. And he received a letter from, Matthew Walzer is a teenager. Sorry, I confused the name of the designer is Nick. Sorry, I got confused. Nick. So Matthew Walzer wrote a letter to Nike saying that well, he was going to enter college. He was 16 years old and he was about to enter college, and he was suffering from mental palsy. Yeah, mental palsy is a disability that doesn't allow you to coordinate your movements very well. No? And he wanted to build in to blend in college. No, he don't want it to be ashamed, and he loved Nike products. No, but because of this, he cannot tie his shoes. No, and since he was going to go to college alone, he didn't want to ask somebody can you tie my shoes? You know, because it's a bit shameful, especially at this age. It's very shameful. No, so he wrote this letter to Nike saying, it's like, okay, well, I want to become self-sufficient. I don't want to be depending on anybody, you know, like just for tying my shoes. So Toby Hatfield, which is the designer, is here in the picture, you know, took this letter and he took it really personal. No? And he was like, okay, we need to design something for this person, no? Because he has a body, he's an athlete, and we have to care for this. No? So he started designing this. This is the first interaction of the shoe, which is a special edition of LeBron James shoes, which actually, if you see, you don't have the cords here in the shoe, go around the shoe and come here and has this zipper. So with one hand, only one hand, you can tie your shoe. And actually, something I love about this, here is Toby with Matthew, you know, demonstrating the shoe that you can tie with one hand. No, you don't need two hands, or you don't need to tie your shoes. And something I like very much, you know, is like the logo of this. It became very successful as well, and the logo of this line of shoes is actually the asterisk. No, the asterisk that is on the Nike mission. This asterisk, no, that if you have a body, you're an athlete. And I love this little twist, no. And the line is called Go Fly East. And it's sponsored by LeBron James. No, it's part of this. And the latest interaction of this, because they keep on doing, as I was telling you, is interaction. Interaction is doing the same thing and improving. And this is the latest version of the shoe, which actually you could see it here. It's very nice, amazing colors. Just came out like 2 months ago. I couldn't get one because it was a special edition, so I could try to get one. So it basically works like this. That way you put it, and this way you take it out. So you don't even need one hand to put it on and to put it off. You don't even need one hand. No? So it's really something, a very interesting product. You know, that people with disabilities, for example, in this case, you know, this other athlete doesn't have a hand. No, it's not like a mental palsy, but in this case, she doesn't have a hand, but she can actually be independent and put on her shoes on and off without using her hands, actually. No, so it's really interesting. This is super new, as I told you. This shoe came out on the 22nd of March, just for you to know. No, so this idea. 15th of March, not 29. No? So to wrap up and to finish up, because I know we are tight on time, we're just in time. To wrap up, remember that we are living in a world that is globalized, that is hyper-connected, and is hybrid, you know, more and more. The products and the services that we use are not only physical, but digital too. No? And this interaction between two is very important, no? Because the future of the jobs of design are more and more related to solving these complex problems that we're facing. No? Because here at IE, as I told you, you know, we are preparing designers to take on this work very complex, very fast changing, and very unpredictable conditions that we're moving. No? And I want to end up with this quote from Karim Rashid, which is the designer of Bubble, the Bubble bottle, which says that design is fundamentally a social act that makes the world a better place, but it's also a business. No, this is Karim Rashid's quote complete. So next time you think about these 4 companies, for example, you think about the 4 biggest companies in the world. These 4 companies are not technology companies. These 4 companies are companies that have understood that design has a lot to do with the products and services they make, and the value of design is what make them more competitive and more useful to the society that we live. So I hope with this, you can understand a little bit, have a little bit more understanding of why design matters today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edgar. Just kind of maybe 1 or 2 minutes, kind of also to wrap up some of the questions, because I have a kind of try to answer all of the questions that were not really specifically related maybe to only kind of design. So just to give you some of the question, and maybe we can use it also to wrap up. For example, we have a question related, it was how to bridge the gap between product functionality and a good design.
Yes, that's an excellent question. You know, it's I think the how is exactly the practice, the professional practice of a designer, and it relates specifically to each problem that you're facing. You know? Any of the examples we have seen here, I think they are perfect examples of this, no? Because they're bringing the connection between excellent product, a good solution, and actually making a bridge into the business world, you know, because good design is good business. And I don't know, you can mention any of the products we have seen, probably get these Nike shoes, no, that we just saw, or the OXO pillar. I think OXO pillar is a perfect example. No? I hope this answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. I have another one also related here also to design, like how to stand out in the field of design in such a competitive market.
That's another great question as well. No?
It's a big one.
How to stand out? That's exactly what we do in our program, no? Because it's something I emphasize a lot. Because in some other professions, the idea is to blend in. No, in many professions, the idea is to blend in. You have to be what is expected from you. In design, it's built from rebels. You know, you have to stand out. You don't want to be normal. You don't want to be like the rest. You have to be special, and you have to be different. And that is something that only with practice you can get it. No? Because you have to practice and practice and practice. The interaction, remember? The OXO pillar, remember how many OXO pillars they had to do before they got the right one? That's how you stand, you know? You stand working a lot, putting an effort, and not giving yourself back.
All right. And also, how to improve my creativity, as someone has actually. Any advice? Any tips? Any tips?
Great questions. Yes, excellent questions. How to improve your creativity? I will say, I think one of the best formulas of increasing your creativity is developing curiosity. Yes, be curious about anything. You know, sometimes people hate me, you know, because it's like I'm curious about any single thing. You know, when I'm out in the street with my friends or anything, it's like, oh, look at this. Have you seen this? It doesn't matter. Because many times it's just reading the newspaper, no? It's, look at this, how interesting is this, no? So try to get used to find something interesting every single day. You know, think about your day today. I mean, here is at night, but maybe you're there somewhere in Latin America right now, and think about your day. You know, what was interesting? Be curious, no? It's like, because I really believe that they're not boring things, you know, it's just boring people. You don't have to be boring, you know, it's like you have to find interest in any single thing, because everything could be interesting, no? It's like, okay, well, let's find out, no? I'm thinking about, for example, Bjarke, no? In Bjarke's example, it's like, Jesus Christ, I have to build a waste burning plant, which is probably the most boring building ever, you know, it's like, because it's just boxes, you know, it's just boxes that put one next to each other, and you have to work with the engineers, and the engineers have to tell you like, okay, you have to make this hole this big because the size of the truck is this big. So there's no space for creativity, no? So he came out with this solution. He's like, okay, we're gonna make every single thing that the engineers need, but we're gonna put something on top. And this is because he's a very curious person. No? He's like, how can we don't settle? No, it's like, how can we make this better? You know, how can I make this interesting? I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, we are only leaving one question right now, and we are done because we have passed the time. So the last one will be, should I build an online portfolio to show my skills, or you prefer maybe physical booklet? What do you prefer as a university? For example, applying to design?
Yes,
What do you
I mean,
prefer?
in today's world, it's very easy to answer. No? In today's world, it's easier to make it digital. You know, don't bother to make it. I mean, you have to make it digital anyway to make it to print. No, so and to send it and to transport it to be more efficient, just make it digital. Don't worry. You know, just make sure that you have good examples of your creativity in your portfolio. Make sure your photographs are aligned. I don't know if you have seen my presentation. Every single photograph is perfectly aligned. You know, they align perfectly. And choose a nice typeface, because I love typography. Typography is really my thing, no? So use a good font.
Thank you, Edgar. We have answered all the questions on the chat. The one that we didn't answer kind of directly, kind of live, like oral way, we have written it, the answer on the chat. So anything you need, you can also send us an email, of course. And you can check again this video, the recording of this presentation on Viva-Mundo Facebook, all right? And also their website. So I'm going to leave the floor to Karen to finish that session.
You have my Instagram there too, if you use this thing called Instagram.
Well, thank you very much, Edgar and Alicia, for your presentation, for your brilliant presentation. I'm sure you gave us really useful information about this design environment and how this file is like changing actually nowadays. So it was really interesting. Thank you very much for your presentation once again. If any of our attendees have any other questions, please feel free to send all their questions or your questions, sorry, via email or directly to Mr. Edgar. On the screen, you have all his contact details. And you can always visit IE University website and try to contact any other representative directly. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for your presentation once again. We hope to see you all soon.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye. Ciao.